All right. First Samuel chapter 19 here. Saul tries to kill David, and David has to flee. So that's what we're focusing on. Okay, so First Samuel chapter 19. Oh, it should be in Show Me Bible. Lesson 3, that one right there. Yep. You got it right there. All right, so lesson 3, 1 Samuel chapter 19. And Saul spake to Jonathan his son and all his servants that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul my father seeketh to kill thee. Now therefore, I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide thyself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and I will commune with my father of thee. And what I see, that I will tell thee. And Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul his father, and said unto him, Let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he hath not sinned against thee, and because his works have been to thee word very good. For he did put his life in his hand, and slew the Philistine. And the Lord wrought a great salvation for all Israel. Thou sawest it, and didst rejoice. Wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood to slay David without a cause? And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan, and Saul sware, As the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain. And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan showed him all these things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as in past times. Okay? So, we see God is continuing to work here. He will do that throughout this lesson. He'll guide David, even though he's working and doing those things through the evil deeds of Saul. Okay, so let's look for that in this lesson. How is God using the evil deeds of a man for his benefit, for David? Okay, so we saw and we read once again here, Jonathan and David, their souls are knit together. They love one another because it's a godly love. Okay, but anyways, David and Saul have kind of made a peace. David is now married to Michal, Saul's daughter, so you would think as in-laws now they would hopefully get along, and that's not the case. Okay? Saul is extremely determined to kill him. Okay? What's amazing is God is also working through the evil deeds of Saul. God is also working through the godly deeds of Jonathan. And Jonathan tells David, I will go to my father on your behalf, and I will take care of some of these issues. Okay? So he tells David, here's what my father wants to do. He wants to kill you. You need to go hide out in the fields near a place where he planned to talk with his father so that we can meet quickly afterwards. So I'll probably talk to my father out in that field by that big tree or by that rock or something as he's going through. You be nearby, so that we can be ready to do what we need to do, whatever my father may say. Okay? And then Jonathan does that. He meets with his father, and he says to him, first of all, why are you trying to kill David? David hasn't sinned against you. He hasn't done anything to make enemies. It's not like he's killed a son or daughter of yours that would make you angry. He hasn't stolen anything of yours. All he's done is defeat the giant Goliath and taken care of that problem. And then he's gone out and he's defeated the army. So maybe... Well, that's what we've talked about in devotions. What was Saul's real problem? It was his heart. He didn't like it that David was getting credit, that he was getting all the attention. Saul's heart is what was wrong. Saul's heart was in a sinful place because he was jealous. He cared only about himself. Okay? And so all of those things, you can imagine John saying, Dad, those are the things that David has done for us, really done anything against us, and here you want to kill him. Okay? You can imagine Jonathan being godly, but yet being humble, knowing that this is his father, and trying to convince him not to commit the sin of murder, to kill. Okay? And it seems as though it works, because Saul says, all right, fine, I won't kill David. I won't do it. Okay? So Jonathan goes running out to wherever David is, tells him the good news. My father says he won't kill you. But you can imagine there's got to be some doubt in both the mind of David and in the mind of Jonathan. Do they really trust? Do they really trust this? Okay. So now take a look at the next few verses. So David goes back to his duties. Okay. He goes back living with Michal and being a man of battle. Okay. Verse 8. And there was war again. And David went out and fought with the Philistines and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul, as he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand, and David played with his hand. And though Saul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin, but he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall, and David fled and escaped that night. Saul also sent messengers unto David's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, If thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. So again, David returns to his duties. He's faithful. Okay? That's something that we see here. David is faithful in his duties. Even though Saul may not be acting in a godly manner, he's acting and doing wicked deeds, David knows he must be faithful. My vocation and calling, my post in life, is to be the leader of the army, to go out in battle. And I will faithfully do that. Until Saul tells me to do something that's wicked and sinful and against the Lord, I will not do it. Okay? And, of course, David is probably the hero again, and the people celebrate him. And when David then is once again back in the house playing the beautiful music for Saul, Saul becomes angry. God sends, more than likely, an evil spirit again. And he takes that javelin and he throws it towards David. And again, David steps out of the way and flees. He escapes. But now he's not, we don't see him being as well, no, that's not a great word. He doesn't just kind of, well, I'll just leave the palace and, come back the next day and things will be all better. He's just angry on us. No, he now knows Saul is out for his life. Saul has broken his promise here again. So he flees to the home where he lives with his wife, Michal. Okay? And Michal knows her father. She's grown up with him. She's probably seen his anger. She's seen his fits of rage. She knows that he's a man who maybe gets what he wants, you could say, and she knows that he's going to have the head of David. He will make sure that David is killed. So she knows this, and so she tries to warn him. And let's see what happens when she warns him. Verse 12 here. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped, and Michal took an image and laid it in the bed and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster and covered it with a cloth. And when Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, He is sick. And Saul sent the messengers again to see David, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him. And when messengers were come in, behold, there was an image in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. And Saul said unto Michal, Why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he has escaped? And Michal answered Saul, He said unto me, Let me go. Why should I kill thee? And David fled, or so David fled and escaped and came to Samuel, to Ramah, and told him all that Saul had done to him. And he and Samuel went and dwelt in Naioth. Okay? So, what happens here? Well, Michal helps out David. Okay? She tells him, you got to get out. She lets him down through a window because there must be men maybe across the street or across the way, keeping an eye on the door. They know it. So he slips out of the window and he takes off. She quickly goes to the bedroom knowing that soon men will come to the door. She puts an image, idol worship, into the bed. You see some of the troubles there that Michal had. Her father's influence is still heavily upon her of those idols. She lays them in the bed so it looks as though it's lumpy. Gets some hair, looks like some goat's, camel's hair, puts it around where the head is, maybe as though he has his head down, and then covers him up. You can imagine with a blanket. So that when the messengers come in, she lies. She says, he's sick. He's in bed. He can't come and he can't go anywhere right now. He's ill. Maybe they peer into the room and just see. Maybe they don't. We don't know. But they see the lump there in the hair. All right, well, technically this man is in line to, he's a prince now because he's married Michael. So they're probably a little bit intimidated by Michael. This is the king's daughter of all. We don't want to make him angry and push too much here. So all right, we'll go tell the king. Well, they go back and tell the king, and he says, I don't care. He blows into a fit of rage. Carry the bed right out of the house that he's laying in and bring him in here to the palace that I can cut off his head then. So the servants go back, and this time when they try to go in by the bed, you can imagine Michael pleading with them to leave him alone. They go in, and it's just a dumb image and some camel's hair. And they probably become angry. And why did you lie to us? We can't trust you. You're going to get it from your father. You know this won't make your father happy. And they go back and give the news. Michael goes back too. And Saul is angry. He becomes upset with her. Okay? However, the Lord was using the sin of Michael here to make it possible for David to escape. Now, did God need Michael? It's never right for us to lie. Did God need Michael to lie for David? No, God could make it work in his own way. Now, he used the sin of Michael, for the benefit of David. Okay? But that's what escapes. So she lies to her father, then when she gets back to him too and says, oh, he told me to do it. Okay? He told me to do it. He made me. He forced me to let go. I'm on your side, Father. I would have turned him over to you, but it's David's fault. She's trying to put all the blame on him and take it away from herself so that she stays in favor with her father. Okay? So, we can only imagine that. Well, then what happens? Well, let's see. Verse 19, follow along. David's going to be here among the prophets. And it was told Saul, saying, Behold, David is at Naioth in Ramah. And Saul sent messengers to take David. And when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as appointed over them, the Spirit of God was upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied. And when it was told Saul, he sent out other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. And Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also. Then he went to Ramah, and came to a great well that is in Sechu. And he asked and said, Where are Samuel and David? And one said, Behold, they be at Naioth in Ramah. And he went thither to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God was upon him also. And he went and prophesied until he came unto Naioth in Ramah. And he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, Is Saul also among the prophets? So, you had your map. You know where Ramah is, Samuel's city. David goes there and tells Samuel his troubles, and lives at Naioth. Naioth is another word for a dwelling place, or a group of homes. Right? And word gets back to Saul where David is. It's not a terribly hidden place. It's not like David is moving from day to day, but he goes there feeling safe by Samuel and the prophets. So, what does Saul do? He takes some of his servants and he says, Men, I want you to go out. I want you to go to Ramah. I want you to go get David, and I want you to bring him back. Well, when the messengers come, David's kind of trapped. He can't flee the city. He can't get away. The men are there. Again, God is in control here. That's where a lie wouldn't be necessary. It wouldn't be necessary for Samuel to lie like Michael did. Let God work out his own plan. Let God bring to fruition what he will bring. David can't flee. These men, they go in to capture him. But upon entering the house, they begin prophesying, speaking. We think of Balaam and Balaam trying to curse the people of Israel. Rather, God uses him to bless them. And that's the same here. They prophesy. So what happens? Saul sends a second group of messengers, and the same thing happens. Saul sends a third group of messengers, and again the same thing happens. So finally Saul says, well, I'm going to go myself. I can resist the Spirit. No man can resist God, but that's what Saul thinks. He thinks, I can resist this Spirit. So he too enters the dwelling place, and he too begins to prophesy. Now one might say, how is it that an ungodly behaving man like Saul can prophesy? Well, God uses all men, godly and ungodly, for His own means. Okay? The Spirit that was working in Saul was not one a man could resist. No one can resist the Lord. Okay? It was a wonder. It was a miracle. So they took off their outer garments. We read in here that they, not naked, but they probably took off their outer garments, their coats as they came in, hung them up. And there Saul lay among the prophets all night. You would think that would be humbling. Humbling for a proud man like Saul to think, I'm going to do these things, and then to have no control. You would think that he would finally say, Lord, I give up. Your way is right. Your way is the best way. Lord, I give up my kingship. I don't deserve it. You said it would be taken of me, and I give it. I humbly will do your bidding. Let David be the king. Could have asked Samuel there to anoint him. But, again, that was not the Lord's way. The Lord wanted to do it a different way. And it would not be Saul's way either, because he wasn't humble and meek like that. Okay? Now, in your worksheet there, I asked you to look up Psalm 59. So let's go to Psalm 59 real quick. I think that's a good one. It's nice when we're studying David because he wrote the Psalms, and we can see how writing, I think, is always a nice thing. If some of you have your own personal journals, being able to write down your thoughts and your fears and your troubles daily is a good thing to do, and to take it and to weave into it how the Lord is evident in all of that. When we can confess that, that's a great and wonderful and marvelous blessing. And that's what David does in the Psalms. Deliver me from mine enemies, O God. O my God, defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgression, not for my sin, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault. Await to help me, and behold. That's perfect. That's exactly what's going on in this lesson. Hey, David didn't do anything wrong, and men are lying in wait to kill him. Okay? So, he says, Then thou therefore, O Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, await to visit all the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressors. Selah. They return at evening. They make a noise like a dog and go round about the city. Behold, they belch out with their mouth. Swords are in their lips. For who, say they, doth hear? But thou, O Lord, shalt laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathen in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for God is my defense. He talks there about God mocking them by using them to prophesy about him. The Lord shall have the last laugh. He shall have them in derision. Okay, a craziness. So, David uses writing as probably a way to comfort his soul. God uses David to be a writer to comfort his soul for our benefit, so that we have the Psalms now as a blessing to us. And in turn, we can sing those Psalms as a beautiful, poetic verse. So, God is in control here. We see that again. He is planning all things. He is controlling all things. We'll see how, in our next lesson, David continues to have trouble with Saul. And once again, David will have to flee for his life. And once again, Jonathan will try to help out David.